Around the bases with ESPN for 2 nights of Major League Baseball action. First catch Monday Night Baseball presented by Holiday Inn at 7 Eastern. Alfonso Soriano leads the Red Hot Cubs against Scott Rowland and the Cincinnati Reds. Then catch 2 American League East rivals battle on Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Smirnoff Ice as Kevin Youkilis and the Red Sox take on Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays at 7 Eastern time. ESPN News will be shown in Boston and the Tampa markets. Major League Baseball on ESPN and ESPN 360 Monday and Wednesday. Back at the Sunoco Red Cross Pennsylvania 500, lap 34 of 200, and it is Denny Hamlin by virtue of being the first car off pit road in that competition yellow. Hamlin now has led the last 11 laps. Jimmy Johnson led the first 22 and is now trying to reel in Denny Hamlin.
He was able to gain on him quite a bit a minute ago, but as he got closer to him, seems like things kind of stalled out. You see Jimmy's car pretty loose right there.
You see the guys down in Jimmy Johnson's pit area. They're grinding on this. It's actually a painted surface in their pit stall, trying to get a little grip. There's a slick area right there where that paint is. They're putting some grip tape down on it now to try to get some better footing. That's a very critical thing in trying to make these pit stops. That footing can get really, really slick, especially when you've got a piece that's painted like that.
Putting like an abrasive tape down, like sandpaper with an adhesive on the back to be able to get a little footing there for Jimmy Johnson.
Sometimes you got to be careful with that because you get too much grip, or actually too much difference in the grip level as you're coming around. They can almost trip you up.
You saw those guys got beat by 7/100ths of a second a while ago, I think it was. Is that what I believe on that pit stop? And they're kind of up, maybe 7/10 of a second. I'm sorry.
That's what it's come down to.
But that's what it's come down to. So they're upset about that. They don't want to lose at anything.
Might want to mention the 87 and 66 have gone to the garage area. Joe Nemechek and Dave Blaney. Guys, Tony Stewart, we saw what happened in June where he passed a car a lap on an average, 30 cars in 30 laps, but that's not happening thus far today.
No, they just don't have the setup today. We talked about how track is different 6 weeks apart here, but you know, losing that primary car this time, I think, has hurt Tony a lot more than it did last time.
So Robbie Gordon there right in front making the pass on Casey Mears. Seems to be one of Robbie's better efforts this year. I mean, he had to go to the back to on this restart. You see Tony trying to take that spot away from Casey Mears now.
That puts Robbie Gordon up in 30th position. Mears 31st. Tony Stewart 32nd. Now Stewart takes that spot away.
Nice to see Robbie get some things going and get his team back on track a little bit better.
Yeah, looking back at Stewart, it looks bad for him right now, but when you have somebody like Tony Stewart behind the wheel, you can make some ground. Long race here.
Now, Robbie Gordon runs these turns a little bit differently than other people, but Robbie grew up as a road racer, an off-road racer initially, and a very accomplished road racer, DJ, so he takes a little bit different entry.
Well, he has the momentum side of it, and to do that, he runs into the corner a little bit higher, runs through the corner a little bit higher, but he feels like that can keep his car with the momentum going. You can see even here in the tunnel turn, his entrance a little higher. He's not right on the white there, and he feels like this is how he can make his car work the best, and it works well for him in a lot of places.
Moving in on lap 40 of 200, it is Denny Hamlin, the leader. We've had 3 leaders and 3 different lead changes. Jimmy Johnson in 2nd spot. Jeff Gordon is 3rd. Casey Kane 4th. Then Carl Edwards 5th. Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, Juan Pablo Montoya 8th. Kyle Busch is 9th. And Mark Martin is 10th. Let's go back and check in on the 11th place cars as we go up to speed, beginning with Jamie Little.
And the 83 of Brian Vickers is 11th right now. This is one of his strong suits, Pocono Raceway and Indianapolis. Look for him to break into the top 10 here very shortly. This is the same car they ran here in June. They made some changes in practice, including a carburetor change, trying to get the most fuel-efficient car possible. Right now, he says he's just a little bit tight, but he's moving forward. Shannon?
Jamie, the car trying to hunt down Brian Vickers right now is Kevin Harvick right behind him in the 29 car. Harvick was very, that's 2 berries, happy with this car this weekend. This is only the 2nd time this car has been on the track. The first time was Chicagoland, and then last week at Indy when the team said it just came alive. They started the run and the car was tight. They made a track bar adjustment and feel they went a little too far. It's a little bit loose right now, so they will go back on that track bar adjustment. Next pit stop. Vince?
Running 13th is the 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. This was a team actually that was disappointed that qualifying was canceled because they thought they would have a good car in qualifying. Instead, they had to start on points, and that's back in 22nd position. But Dale Jr. has made up 9 spots. He's running 13th right now. They made an air pressure adjustment on that first stop to help some of that tightness. Right now, a little free through the tunnel turn, but otherwise good for the 88. Dave?
Vince, Greg Biffle has gone the other direction. He started the day 9th. His car was loose. He fell back to 12th. He pitted 12th. They maintained that track position, but he's now fallen back to 14th with a car that, according to the driver, is too tight in traffic. Jamie?
And behind him, Clint Boyer, been happy with the car all week and happy with the speed. And you don't hear that from a whole lot of teams. They were happy with the 33, and Shane Wilson, his crew chief, told me they were hoping the sun would shine because they set the car up for warm and sunny conditions. That is the case. Now, what got him back here farther is the last pit stop. They were slow. He slipped 5 spots. Doc?
Clint Boyer now on the move back a little bit, as is Kevin Harvick. Both those cars, the 33 and the 29, were very good in the final practice session. In fact, Harvick was 2nd and Boyer was 6th. Hard to believe that none of the Richard Childress racing cars have had a win thus far this year.
You know, it doesn't take much to get off with these cars, and these cars seem to magnify any problems that you have, and it takes you a very short period of time to get behind and a long time to catch back up.
Denny Hamlin has won twice at Pocono Raceway. He did it in 2006. He came here as a rookie in 2006, and a lot of people wondered, how can you come from being a late model racer all the way to Sprint Cup? Well, guess what? Denny Hamlin made believers of a lot of people winning both races that year. Working lap 43 of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, presented by Old Spice here at Pocono Raceway. Denny Hamlin is the leader. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, and the top 5, Carl Edwards. Jimmy Johnson, if you just joined our coverage, led the first 22 laps, but Denny Hamlin took the lead on pit road. Let's listen into the 48 radio.
Really pretty better down in 1. Maybe a little on the free side to the center. Okay, do we go too far with it? We'll see. I was really driving stupid to catch the 11. I'm going to need you guys on the pit stop to get me out front. Or so get you fixed up.
Yeah, you can see how important these pit stops are, and just getting that car out in front in that clean air, making all the difference in the world. And that's pretty neat that Jimmy is that patient. He says, okay, I'm just going to settle in here and you guys can get me back out front. But they're going to have to, you know, make a good pit stop, and they're working on that pit stall down there, trying to get some more grip for these guys. We saw a while ago why they're doing this. We can see right here on that last pit stop, the rear tire changer coming around the car, slips on that little painted surface right there and takes a pretty hard fall. Does a great job to recover from this to actually get him out as good as he did. But they're going to have to fix that grip level down there, and they've worked on it a lot.
He came on the pit road as a leader and left pit road in 3rd position behind Hamlin and Jeff Gordon. He was able to run his teammate Jeff Gordon down and take the 2nd spot, but the interval now is over 2 seconds between Hamlin and Johnson. Shannon.
Well, guys, you'll hear teams say it's really a balancing act here at Pocono, trying to get good in some turns, but then, of course, you suffer in others. Right now, Jimmy Johnson says he's getting better in turn 1. He's a little bit free in the center, but he's really struggling in 2 and 3. You know those guys are going to go to work on the 48 on the next pit stop.
DJ used to come here years ago, and all these crew chiefs would talk about compromise. You had to be able to get good in one corner, okay in another one, and then hold your breath in the 3rd one when you came to Pocono.
Yeah, you really did. And there's still some compromise that you have to do. If you get your car what you feel like is really good down in turn 1 to where you're comfortable driving off in there at over 200 miles an hour and getting through the center and making the car turn there, you're usually going to be too tight up in turn 3. So there's still some compromise on the driver and crew chief's part. But you really, because the competition has gotten so good and so tight, you really can't give up much anywhere. And I think turn 1 has probably become the most important turn here, as we see a nice battle between Marcus Ambrose and Jeff Burton.